Hello, best friend Brenbrens, and welcome back to Season 3 of Rewatching Home Movies, a weekly watch-along podcast where three friends break down the 1999 animated series Home Movies. My name's Tim, and I'm obsessed with home movies.
My name's Adele, and I'm a home movies newbie.
And my name is Marcin, and I've never seen home movies.
Home Movies Season 3, and an interview with Steve Rogan. That is what we're talking about today. Let's go. Ooh. This interview was spooky because I was scared the whole time.
Well, I didn't tell. I couldn't tell.
I could tell a little bit.
No!
But that's only because I've been in those interview spaces and I know how I feel when I'm interviewing those.
It's so funny because every single time we get everything set up, we get the call going, I know everything is up and running, and then I say, okay, can we just chat for a few minutes? I just need to like calm down a little bit. And every time they're like, why? And I'm like, because you worked on this show that and they're like, yeah.
They're like, I'm just a guy.
Right. A guy that I look up to tremendously.
Aww.
And, sir, I worry about having to ask the waitress for extra salt, so you need to give me some time.
But all things considered, dude, Steve Rogan, such a nice dude, such a great guy. This dude is like a almost limitless well of old home movies knowledge. And the fact that he was willing to talk to me and still answers my messages when I have questions is pretty sweet, if you ask me.
Steve gets an S tier rating for Steve.
S for Steve.
Yeah.
An S for Sandy. That way they can identify our body. That's a reference for me and Adele and everyone else in our age group.
Oh, sorry. I'll just sit this one out.
No, Tim, come back. No, Tim, don't leave.
Don't worry, we'll do our rewatching SpongeBob series next.
Good. But no, super fun interview. Steve was so knowledgeable, so freaking nice. And just to get that perspective of him basically coming in as they're transitioning from squiggle vision to flash animation, I mean, that's huge. That's 3/4 of of home movies. So
the fact that his first scene ever was that walkie-talkie scene is extremely impressive.
I remember breaking that scene down.
We were impressed then.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things we've talked about in that episode where it's like, this is adding some style to the show. It's not just three people standing having a conversation like you imagined the first 5 episodes.
No, I mean, take any scene from season 1, episode 1 through 5, and compare it just to that walkie-talkie scene. It's like 2 different shows.
I even made that point in the interview that part of the reason season 3 is so amazing is because Shore Leave just like kicks it off.
Yeah, buddy.
So to have such pivotal scenes in that show be like, oh, yeah, that was my first, no big deal.
Was that the same episode where it was supposed to be revealed that Jason was doing his nails or he was getting his nails done?
He was getting a pedicure.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been sweet. I wish they left that in.
Depends. How does he treat his nails? What was he getting on his nails? Is it just covered in boogers? What were they doing there?
He's picking his nose with his toes.
Yeah.
He's flexible, that one.
Yeah. Ouch. Thank you for that, Miss Baby. I had to grab this cat because she was yelling otherwise, and now she's biting me. But that's... Anyway, there were so many things in the interview that I was just trying to pick up and talk about. There was times when they started talking about season 4, and I was like, I gotta take my headphones out!
I don't think they gave anything away, though, when they brought up season 4.
They gave one thing away, but I won't bring that up. It'll be for later.
For season 4.
Honestly, great interview. Especially just another confirmation of how they brought in animators, just illustrators that they believed in and taught them how to do the software. Because every single job can be taught, especially if you want to learn. Absolutely.
Bring that back in 2025, man. The fact that the mass majority of these animators were just like learning as they go and just, God, we just need more of it.
I think sometimes in some fields there is this mentality of you need an animator, but instead of getting an animator who's been doing it their own set way for X amount of years that doesn't want to be flexible or doesn't want to learn a new program or whatever. Sometimes it's just easier to find, okay, let's just find that illustrator that's really good at illustrating, but also has a passion to learn all of this new stuff. And I think when you give people the opportunity to delve into new realms creatively, they will enter it from an angle that someone who maybe has just been doing cookie cutter animation the last 10, 15 years wouldn't even think about. I think it's a really smart move to get people that know how to illustrate, but also are very good at just learning and picking up on these programs and giving them the opportunity to then run with the ball and see what happens.
Let's squash nepotism, shall we?
I agree.
You hit the nail on the head right there when you said the word opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Giving these people the opportunity to do these things, because nowadays when they're looking for anybody for a job, you have to go through 5,000 folks and applications, and it's like, okay, but we're looking for somebody who has 15 years of experience in their early 20s and willing to do it for experience.
I've seen job postings where they literally will mention a program and say you have to have 5 years experience with this program, and this program has been on the market for 3 years.
What the fuck?
I mean, talk about unrealistic expectations for what you want, from these people. Like,
and certain pieces of software or just programs in general, like I'm very good with Adobe products. Like I've been using Adobe products for like over 10 years at this point. I don't know how to work the entire program. Sometimes there's a trick or two that I learn and I'm oh, this would have been helpful 5 years ago. This would have been nice to figure that one out. Sometimes me and Nate get together like on webcam and we're just editing back to back, for projects we're working on. And I'll show him a method that I use and he'll be like, oh, I don't know how to use that. Oh, God, that's very helpful. And then he'll teach me one.
Aww.
Because everyone comes at a program from a different perspective, and then having someone who's not familiar with the program coming in blind to it all can just change the game in different ways. And I think that's one of the things Steven brought up in the interview. He breaks the rules when it comes to his process with art. Knowing the rules in order to break the rules. Breaking the rules is how you find things that are much more original.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, the character designs for home movies in general. Wasn't it just... I forget who did it, but they're like, I just like the look of pajamas and just like it.
Dude, it was Chris Georginas, and it was something that when he was helping create the character models for this show, I don't want to misname here, but I think it was Linda Zeminski was helping come up with these character models and just kind of left the pajama footies and hands in there. They were both, well, obviously we'll change that eventually, but it just stuck around.
Yeah.
And that's what the charm is. Like, my biggest gripe with any adult animated cartoon is just how ugly and soulless the designs can be.
Absolutely. And even in this point where we have officially moved to Flash animation, it doesn't always have that just like generic Flash animation style and feel to it. I think we did bring up at the beginning of episode 13, the season 3 finale, there's like a pan in the schoolyard and a bus goes by, and then we eventually like kind of fall on the kids. We're at the end of the 3rd season of this 4-season show, and we're like, hey, that looked really Flash animated. And that was the first time we genuinely felt that way. So even the base program that they're using, Flash animation, it doesn't have that, because I remember Flash animation from the old internet days. It has a very specific kind of feel to it, and I really don't feel that with home movies.
I'm not sure if you ever watched The Fairly Odd Parents, either of you.
Absolutely.
They switched from their art style very late in the cartoon, like very late in the seasons, but they switched to Flash, and it was so night and day towards later seasons of just like going from this art style they had and then back into Flash. Especially like I think in the 2010s or like towards the late 2000s, Flash animation was a signal that you were dying as as a cartoon because they're trying to like change the budget and cheapen it up. But they had Flash here in home movies, and it looks great. It looks fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a huge upgrade from what they originally
Yeah.
had. And if we're going to be talking about the transition from Squiggle Vision to Flash, I've noticed in all of these interviews that I've had the luxury of doing that there always comes one point in the interview where they just drop a little bit of a like, oh yeah, I helped design this or I helped do that. And it's such a complete mind explosion emoji of a moment. And I think for me with Steve's interview, just the fact that he came in during that transitional period of Squiggle Vision to Flash, and he was given the task of redrawing all the character designs so they can go into Flash. So basically he said, oh, McGurk and Jason and all these major characters that you see basically from season 2 on, those are my pen markings. Those are my line drawings. That was me who drew that character model that you've seen for the next 38 episodes or whatever. I think at that point I was just like, oh my God, dude, that's huge. That's amazing.
It's very surreal to think about you watching this show for 3 seasons now and then just casually talking to the people who made it is wild. And also a huge blessing because, like, I mean, the fact that they are interested in this podcast at all to come on and talk is pretty crazy.
Steve even brought it up. He knew that when he worked on this show and when they were done with it, that there was something special there. I asked the question, like, did you know 20-something years later, some random dude's going to message you and be like, will you be an interview on my podcast about movies? and David and Chris were like, no, absolutely not. And Steve was like, yeah, 100%. I knew it was special. It was too funny not to be special. I think when you pour your heart and soul into a project and you know that's something there, and then that transitions into the fact that as we're recording right now, this morning, I got a message from Steve sharing an animation that his son posted and kind of released out there into the world. Steve has 2 sons who are very artistic, into illustration, animation, and then he's got an even younger daughter who he says is going to be the biggest rock star of them all.
It's in their blood.
But how cool is it to raise these children who are super creative just like you, who are going into similar fields than you did, and being able to be like, oh yeah, you think animation's cool? Hey, check this out. And then just throw on an episode of home movies. Like, yeah, did you see my name at the end? That's right.
You see the show? That's all me, baby. You're looking at my soul. When Steven was talking about his kids, I was like, oh yes, a family of artists where they're all just like creating things, showing each other the things, supporting the things. And I was like, please adopt me. Because that's all I ever wanted to be a part of. Like, that sounds incredible.
Yeah.
To be a part of a family of just like creators and
Absolutely. And I mean, realistically, if they adopt us and just have like 3 more kids, we could probably some kind of podcast network, or, you know, we can definitely get something rolling creatively in that family. So I think it's a mutually beneficial situation for sure.
yeah, maybe we could afford a house.
Oh, one day.
Bring it around town.
Knock on wood. I do want to shout out his son that is working with that program that helps artists not get their stuff stolen by AI.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's extremely important, and I feel like that guy needs his flowers.
What was it? Horizon.org?
So I wrote it down. I'm just going to spell it because I'm not sure how they're... It looks like Horizon, but it's HORIJON.org. And yeah, it's a way for artists to display their art in like a gallery type setting, but specifically so that the art will not be just fed into the AI machine for soulless art training.
I feel like as an artist, it's really kept me from posting things on the internet specifically for that reason. So to have a place for artists to congregate and showcase their work with not having that cloud of AI over their heads, I feel like is very important, and there should be more of that.
Especially a program that's specific, or it's being very specific about it. Like, we do not like use your art. We do not use this. Whereas, like, I found out that Pokemon Go used your, walking around to train AI, and I had to just drop it. I can't be a part of that. And then there's so many people who are not really understanding the true effects that AI and what ChatGPT has done to not only artists, but just in general, just the fact that it has stolen everybody's data to train this AI. We do not want or consent to our data being taken, our art being taken. here's a place for us to go, a safe haven for artists. Like, that is very important to have, especially with the fact that everyone's like, oh, AI is not a big deal. You know humanity, you know government, you know what they do with everything they get their hands on? They make it a weapon.
Yeah, they do.
They make it a big old weapon.
Not to mention, there are like 6 Terminator movies that warned us about this very thing. And we're like, that's hilarious. Hey, AI, make me a picture of a pig, but it's a clown.
This past week, I read 2 different articles. One was how there's an influx of people who are developing like interpersonal relationships or parasocial relationships with their AI and falling in love with their AI. And it's barely been out, and these people are already falling in love with them. And then on top of that, I read another article where AI is causing people to have fucking spiritual psychosis because these people are using it as like forms of like divination or like trying to figure out what they did in past lives. It's just a program just trying to tell you what you want to hear. And it's like, this shit's dangerous. It's dangerous.
Especially during a mental health crisis, people using it for therapy.
Oh.
It's a nightmare. So just to bring it back down, like, doing the Lord's work out there.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you.
I actually have it up. It's in my bookmarks now on my computer. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to say Harijon. If that's not correct, I'm sorry, but that's how I'm spelling it. But I have it up. It's very, very thank you for just fighting against AI.
And it's something that not only as artists we need to protect our own art, but we should be looking out for our fellow artists.
Yeah.
Let them know, hey, I noticed you post your art on X, Y, or Z. Just so you know, it's right in their terms and services that they will use your art to train AI. And if you're cool with that, okay, you get right with God, I guess. But if you're not, then maybe don't share your art there. And that goes with not just digital art, not just physical art, that goes music, that goes, I mean, everything. Everything is now just a tool to train a bot. We got to keep the humanization in art.
Amen.
Art without humans is
not
soulless. It's not. No, it's really not.
It's just not art.
I don't know how anybody who can really defend it. There are people who try to with saying like people who are not able-bodied can use AI to do this or that. And like I understand that. I really do. I don't want to take that away from somebody who can't actually perform certain tasks or do this or that, blah blah blah. But under capitalism,
well, exactly. And we can't let 1 or 2 case uses of it actually being helpful to then excuse it to take the literal soul out of the art that we're consuming.
Right.
You know, we can't say, hey, it does have a practical use for someone who can't physically write or draw or paint or whatever, but we can't let a handful of practical uses excuse what's going on with AI, and specifically it's stealing art.
I'm looking to try and take Puzzle Valley off of things like Spotify because Spotify is in talks with using that to train AI. And
of course.
And I just need to find places I can trust. If we can find places that we can trust, we need to share that with each other and don't gatekeep it. Just be like, hey, listen, here's a safe haven. Here's what they called that in the Matrix. What was the name of that city where all the humans congregated outside of the Matrix to be a safe haven? I can't remember that, but that's what I need. That's what I need. I need an arts haven of wherever that Matrix place was.
I saw a video the other day where it was like going to the movie theater in the future, and it's like, do you want to see a regular movie or do you want to see an organic movie? And they're like, what's the difference? And the regular movie is all made by AI, an organic movie is made by humans.
Dude, that's exactly how they described it at the filmmakers panel I went to, where they were talking about AI, and we were all like up in arms saying like, this is going to destroy it. They're like, no, it's going to be kind of like organic food versus like normal foods.
That's scary.
Yeah, fuck, it's so scary. And they're talking about data centers here in Chicago that's going to destroy our fresh water. I don't want to get into it because I want to talk about this lovely podcast, but
right, to bring it back to the interview. Has every animator you've talked to said that Jason is their favorite character?
Okay.
And I like how they'll even like, I know Marson is not going to like this.
Like, legitimately, I was listening to it while I was at work, and then Steven was like, Jason, and I said under my breath, I was like, fuck. And then immediately he was like, I know Marson is probably sitting there. And I'm like, yeah, I am, Steven. Yeah, I am. Just know you can feel my energy. And here's my thing. Steven, you did a great job on the show. You were a lovely person, nice, and all that. And to everybody else who is a fan of Jason, I completely understand it. He's a funny guy. You never know what the guy's gonna say. He's so wacky. But then there's like great characters like Dwayne, who's just like a great guy.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
You got characters like Melissa, and even McGurk, who you can be like, that guy is just an asshole. But God, he's funny.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of things that he said because they were so funny that I remembered them. Jason's like, you're a fucking bitch. Melissa, I wanted to be Chocolate Factory. Also, here's my skull cap.
I think everybody who said that Jason is their favorite character mainly focused on the character arc and like how he grows as a character. But still, I don't think I would say he's my favorite by a long shot. I think there are, like you said, a whole lot of like very strong hitting characters that I would choose first.
And you bring up like Dwayne, who I will never argue Dwayne is an S tier character. Same with Melissa.
Absolutely.
But I guess the difference between like Dwayne and Jason is you don't get nearly as much Dwayne as you do Jason.
Yeah.
And Melissa is also an S tier character, but also has her flaws.
As we all do.
Everyone do.
I'm just very happy that we have moved so far past super disgusting, gross Jason that now it's like, yeah, his attitude fucking sucked in this episode, or he was mean to Melissa. Like, he has its moments for sure, but at least it's not like, oh, he was great this episode, except where he picked his ass for 9 minutes and wiped a booger on Brendan as he was, you know what I mean?
Literally bent over and spread his asshole for the camera. Yeah, like...
But at the same breath, better conditions for prisoners now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This hits so fucking hard.
Listen, I don't want to take anything away from the character arc of Jason. I would love to see what he looks like as an adult. I'm sure he looks back at his old self and goes, oh, God, that sucks. Anyway, Melissa, what do you want for dinner?
Oh, cute.
In an alternate reality where that actually happens. Again, I understand why people love Jason, but he's got like 3 different last names. How do you trust that guy?
That's not his fault.
Speaking of last names, Octavio's last name?
Oh, Octavio's middle name.
No, it was Octavio's last name is his son's middle name, I thought.
Oh, I think you're right. You're right. Octavio's last name is Pranis, and that is his son's middle name.
I have never heard of that name in general before.
Neither have I.
Pranis. How do you spell that?
I have it as Pranis. Not 100% positive. I could go back to the episode and double check, but yeah, it should. I believe it is on his headshot.
When I think of prawn, yes, I think of prawn like the fish.
Something that was brought up a couple weeks ago on the podcast was Steve and I talked about his favorite episode, which was Coffins and Cradles. Specifically, that uncensored scene he was able to find and post on the internet.
The unearthing of that, I'm sure the community was very thankful for.
Oh, yeah.
Just for the content that is allowed to be shown.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Fuck you! Fuck you! Who?
Man, I never thought I was going to enjoy Linda so fucking much.
Well, it makes one of us.
I see, that's one of the things is I really enjoyed that episode a lot.
Oh, it was a great episode.
I love them going back. Linda and Brendan just absolutely hating each other. That was so fucking good. Do it yourself, lazy ass.
Very good line.
Yeah, and then Tom Kenny was on it.
Yeah.
Speaking of doors, we're going wide open here. Fenton wasn't there?
It was a great episode. I really, really liked that episode. I'm just not a fan of Linda. Can't help it.
No, that's fine. That's fair.
Can't help it.
Because he was saying like some of his big influences was like Looney Tunes and then Ren and Stimpy. Listen, I don't need to get into it, but I'll just say I have never been a big fan of Ren and Stimpy. I am disgusted by it every time I've ever seen a single episode of that show. I got into like not even like a funny haha debate thing with Ed one time. We got into a heated argument about Ren and Stimpy.
Really?
He sent a GIF of an episode of Ren and Stimpy. It was just some dude taking a shit, But it was so massive that like he was destroying the bathroom and like the toilet was in his face. Whatever. He sent me that GIF and I was like, I hate this so fucking much. I hate it. It's disgusting. Why would you send me that? And he just like, because it's funny. Because it's fucking funny. Ren and Stimpy is a very gross show. I understand why people like it. I can't fucking stand it, dude.
If we want to have a conversation about Ren and Stimpy, I think there needs to be, though, like a very specific... Ren and Stimpy was such a unique show because it existed first on Nickelodeon. And when you think Nickelodeon, obviously you think a children's TV network. But Ren and Stimpy on Nickelodeon was a very, very gross show. There was a whole episode where Stimpy farts and it's personified and it's like his pet and it runs away. There's a whole thing.
That's the only episode I've ever seen is the fart episode.
That's so funny. So I have an older brother. My older brother is Craig, who has been on the podcast. I have an oldest brother who is even older than Craig.
I thought you said old ass, bro.
I have an old ass brother. He's so fucking old, dude. He farts dust.
No. Oh, shit. I'm punching stuff. Sorry.
Adele wants everyone to know he's not that old. But I do. My oldest brother, he loved Ren and Stimpy growing up. So let's say when Ren and Stimpy was huge, he was probably like 14, 15, which is like kind of the perfect demographic for it. And I was a little bit younger. You know, I was probably like 9 or 10 or whatever. He watched it on Nickelodeon. I remember it. I remember the episodes. I remember the Nickelodeon run. And then what had happened was, you know, inevitably it got canceled. It left Nickelodeon. And then it got picked up again by Spike TV. TV for who? That's right. It's for men. Get out of here, ladies. This TV's for men. They brought it back, and it wasn't the Ren and Stimpy show. It was like the Ren and Stimpy adult hour. Innuendos are out the window. Way more raunchy, way more gross, because that's what men wanted back then.
You know, I'm okay being left out of Spike TV. I think I'm okay.
I watched one episode of the Spike TV run of Ren and Stimpy, and I was like, not for me. Combination of it was just a little too much, and quite a few years had gone by, and I feel like maybe I had just grown up a touch, so I didn't feel it. I will say the old Nickelodeon episodes, they do make me laugh. A lot of them probably wildly inappropriate still. But it's that Spike TV run that was just way over the top. And I just was not a fan.
The episode of Ren and Stimpy where they were living inside of a spittoon in a bar and people would spit into it and that was like their dinner.
Ew.
I saw both versions, like a couple episodes here and there, and I was always disgusted, whether it was the adult version or whether it was the Nickelodeon version. There's also a quote-unquote lost episode of Ren and Stimpy where they were like bath attendants in a shower for people who would come in and shower, and then they'd...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I understand why people who are in animation like Ren and Stimpy, because Ren and Stimpy, as much as you don't like it, and I'm not going to sit here and like argue that or say that you're wrong, SpongeBob is so heavily influenced by the animation style of Ren and Stimpy that it's not even funny.
Oh, yeah.
That close-up of a overtly disgusted, over-animated face, that is right out of the Ren and Stimpy book, dude. Like...
Well, the thing about Ren and Stimpy is, like, I understand why animators love it, because it's fully expressive, the animation, like, you blink and you miss something in that type of animation, especially when it's so rapidly moving, it's always a different feel, everyone's, like, fully expressive and screaming, and I completely understand why animators love it, but just don't fucking make me watch it. Please don't make me watch that shit. God damn, it's so gross.
I get it. And this has been a Ren and Stimpy not rewatch podcast.
I'm down with that one.
One last thing I wanted to bring up about the interview, and then if you guys had anything else, please. But maybe I misread this show. Maybe I was under the assumption that we never really knew what state it took place in. But Steve was very like, yeah, dude, it's Massachusetts. Put it on his license.
I'm still going to say it's Florida.
Here's the thing. If they don't know why there are gnomes in the show, and yet they were putting fucking gnomes in the show, I don't know how I can trust that. There's a death of the author situation here. Someone's like, this is a license plate. It says FL on it. I don't know where they're from, though.
It's Florida.
Here's this place that's based off Miami. She's not from Florida.
Any state license plate can have any letters on it. They don't necessarily mean, it wasn't like the license plate itself said the state of Florida. It just had an FL. That's it. I think my license plate has like a EZ on it.
Because you're easy.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not. Even how Steve got it in, and it's in an episode we haven't even seen yet, but it's just like a quick little glance at a driver's license.
Massachusetts. I don't know.
I mean, I think McGurk is from Massachusetts. That's for sure.
Yeah. But then he moved to Florida.
I mean, who wouldn't? Come on. There's Miami there. There's soccer down there. And that's all you need when you're McGurk. They have talked about it a lot, especially because the soup to nuts like base was in Massachusetts, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why they would put it there. But in my head canon, especially after watching all of these things, and haven't seen like a winter scene yet, in my head right now, it is Florida.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Especially because like the zip code, it was based off did he say a song or a show or something?
Yeah, I think it was like a Def Leppard song or Van Halen or one of those.
So it was just happenstance that the zip code matched up with Massachusetts. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry, but I can't get on the Massachusetts train.
The death of the author. Whoa.
Just everybody in the show, if I had to guess, they all act like Floridians, and so therefore it's Florida in my head. Sorry.
Which is crazy because McGurk is the most Florida man I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
The last things I wanted to say about the interview with Steve was the TTRPG LARP Narrow. I've never LARPed before. I've always wanted to, but the social stigma of LARPing, everyone's like, oh, that's cringe, even though I used to play Power Rangers as a child in my front yard as cars passed, wondering who I was attacking, what invisible enemy I was swinging a stick at. LARPing, I think, is something that our inner childhood would definitely enjoy, and I definitely would want to. So I actually also have been looking up that Nero LARP TTRPG, staring at that, so I'm checking that out.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of the animators worked on Game Grumps, but I would love to tell that to Nate, because Nate is a huge Game Grumps fan.
Yeah, it was his
son.
His son who has the Instagram of cave_art 404.
That's right.
I think Julian is his son's name. He is the one who I believe just put out the animated short today. And he, on his YouTube channel, which I believe is cave_art, has a Game Grumps clip that he animated that is hilarious.
The very last thing is the piece of advice that Steven had, which is to network. To quote Steven, which is, if you're keeping it to yourself, you'll never flourish, which is a problem I think a lot of artists have, including myself, where it's like, it's not done yet. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
I can't show this to somebody. They'll ha-ha at me and laugh and point. Like, networking is such a big thing that you need to do as an artist in order to not only share your art with other people, but also gain perspectives of different people's arts.
Hell yeah.
Preach it.
My last note I had for the interview was like, very artistic family.
Well, that's funny because my last note for the interview was Tim is so cute.
What the
because it was a really good interview, and he always nails interviewing them.
Tell, are you looking at my notes? Because that was mine, too.
Really?
Yeah. Tim's such a good interviewer, and he's very cute. You can tell through the pod.
Oh, stop. Steve's going to send me a picture of his notes. Tim is actually kind of cute.
Steve just has a heart with Tim's name in his notes. Because we all love Tim.
We all love Tim.
I'm so glad you said that, because that's going to awkwardly transition into the next thing I wanted to talk about, which we are going to talk about season 3 of the podcast. But before we did that really quick, I just want to talk about the podcast. I really feel like this season, more so than any other, we've gotten so much positive feedback. I've gotten multiple emails from fans that, I mean, even the email that's like, hey, found the podcast, binging it, love it. You guys have no idea how much that really kind of pushes us to keep going, and it feels so good. We had our first fan reach out and request some stickers, which are still readily available, and probably by the time this episode drops and we start getting into season 4, there might be another design of sticker, maybe 2, who knows. So those are also on the table as well. So I just wanted to take a second to genuinely thank everyone who's reached out either via email at rhmpod@gmail.com, who have rated and reviewed on Apple or on Spotify. I feel like a little bit of a goof because I just learned that Spotify has comments.
I told you they
And
did.
that
I told you they did.
people had been commenting. And so, hey, if you commented on an episode and then 5 months later somebody liked it, yeah, that was me. Sorry. I might have responded too. I'm gonna get on top of that a little bit more. I think I will start using the Spotify comment section to interact with some fans of the pod a little bit more. So I wanted to put that out there again. Like, thank you so much for reaching out, all the positive feedback that I've heard. But then simultaneously, what is really weird about this season is I feel like I've gotten more people reaching out to us, like personally, to tell us very positive things about the podcast. Throughout the entire third season, though, I haven't had one new 5-star review. I know I always said that I'll read 5-star reviews at the end of the podcast. I just simply haven't had any to read. So I really, really put it out there, and I put it out in the universe, and I wished and I hoped and I hoped and I wished, and I said I just want one more review before the end of season 3. And then the finger on the monkey paw closed, and I am here to officially announce that we got our first 1-star review on Apple Podcasts. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was a 1-star rating. They didn't leave us a review, so of course I only assume that it's me.
I'm going to say this right now. If you are the person who left the 1-star review, and I or any of us know you personally, and it was out of spite, karma will come for you. Because that's sad. That's sad. If you have critical things to say, just say it.
Honestly, that's genuinely it. I have some constructive criticism for myself, I'm sure. You know, we've heard comments in the past about, they talk about themselves a lot. Yeah, we host a podcast and we are humans. So that's going to happen. That really doesn't faze me at all. That doesn't bother me. Lengths of episodes have gotten longer because we just, we chat more. We get into the episodes more. Essentially, I guess what I'm saying is the amount of positive feedback we get, and it's not just the quantity of the positive feedback that we're getting, it's also the quality of it. When I have somebody that worked on 38 episodes of the show that we're breaking down say, hey, I really enjoy your podcast, that means a little bit more to me than Pussyfart69 on Reddit saying that we need to X, Y, and Z. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I didn't use a good name. I'm sorry.
I'm just laughing at the pussy fart. I'm sorry, I'm 12.
No, you're good. I thought that was more of you were disappointed that I chose the name Pussyfart69.
Yes. Coincidentally, when I laugh, I also look disappointed.
The defense mechanism.
But basically, yeah, all I'm saying is certain people's opinions obviously hold more water to me. I know this isn't something most podcasts talk about because, maybe it's like a off the pod kind of conversation, but I just thought because we are talking about a recap of the third season, we have been getting very positive feedback for the third season. So it's just something that I think personally what I'm attributing this to is that we are growing to a point that we're inevitably going to fall into the laps of people who either don't like home movies or don't like our format, don't like whatever. That's just part of growing pains of having a podcast that is gaining traction. When I started doing comedy, I was about 2 or 3 years in, and I had a guy start tweeting at me that he didn't think I was funny, that I should quit comedy, hang it up, all this other stuff. And I remember, obviously, I took this very, very, very personally. I took it to heart. I mean, this person is going out of the way to find me on a social media app to type out the words, "You are not funny," and send it to me. I remember talking to a comedian friend who had been in the game for a while, and when I showed him, he just kind of laughed. He's like, "Congratulations, dude." And I was like, why? Why is this congratulations? He's like, because your comedy is reaching so many people. Either somebody doesn't vibe with your content, or it's coming from this weird place of jealousy. they're not doing stand-up. But you know what they can do is they can sit there and judge you for you doing it, for you putting in the time, for you putting yourself out there and being vulnerable. They can judge you for that, but they're never going to do anything like that themselves. He's like, wear it as a badge of honor. It means that your content is reaching such an audience that you're going beyond just your friends and family who are going to listen to your content because they care for you, and it's getting to real people that the inevitability is you're not going to resonate with everybody, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Podcasts that I love that I'm like, I can't say one bad thing about them, have 1-star reviews. You can read them. Some of them are so fucking mean, but it really puts into perspective the kind of person that goes out of their way to leave that kind of 1-star review, to put down someone else who's doing something that they couldn't even begin to imagine doing. It reminded me of when we had Chris on the podcast, and his creative corner was the guy who would teach you how to make video games. And Chris's mentality shifted of when he would see a bunch of people like ragging on a video game. He's like, okay, where's your video game?
Yeah.
What are you doing to make the space better?
The thing is, misery loves company, and I think this is something that a lot of artists can resonate with and can relate to heavily, because I know it's something I dealt with, which is I was an artist from a very long time, or at least I had the artist mindset of I wanted to create and do this and that and blah, blah, blah. And the amount of people who come out of the woodwork just to tell you you can't do that, or you shouldn't do that, or you should be realistic, or you should stop doing blah, 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 blah. There's so many of those folks who just want to pull you down, who really just want you to be on their level because they start to feel threatened by you because you are learning more about yourself and becoming different than they are used to, and you are changing into something scary. Change is scary for a lot of folks. And so when you're growing up in that mindset and people around you, like I know I did, it was a hard thing trying to grow into the artist that I was or am. There are so many people out there who have this device in their hands that allows them to be mean to everybody across the world.
Mm-hmm.
That is a power that a lot of people don't know how to wield properly. I mean, I'm right there with you where I am just so fucking scared of the day that I get like... Because there's one thing of like not getting any reviews, not getting any feedback or any criticism. That's its own drama or monkey paw I have to deal with, because then you start going like, oh, well, is anybody out there? Is anyone listening?
Right.
But the thing that I dread the most is just the first real criticism that really sticks in your ear and sticks in your brain that you carry with you for the rest of your life because you're like, oh, but I think they might be right. For example, in Puzzle Valley, I'm like waiting for the day that someone's like, oh yeah, this 30-year-old's pretending to be teenagers the entire time. I understand that like joke or mentality because I know that's not what I'm doing, but I know anybody can say that because they want to bring you down and they'll say whatever to bring you down. As much as I hate saying it because I hate this advice, but we have to have thicker skin if we're going to put stuff out into the universe. Because at the end of the day, there are people that just don't get it or just don't like it or don't resonate with it, and that's just what it is.
I think the only issue I really had with the 1-star review is that it was just that. There was no like comment. Maybe I'm just fucked up in the head, but I'm just like, okay, say why. Coward, say why. Like,
no, you're not fucked up in the head, because the feedback is like, if there was something actually wrong with something, like, oh, I don't want to listen to this because there are too many uhs or ums or blah blah blah, or like there's too many mouth claps, this, that, or the other, we can use that to actually make the thing better.
100%.
right. Exactly.
Because, yeah, like you said, if it's an audio issue, if I need to just learn to edit better, that is something I can do.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're just throwing out them 1 stars and not saying shit, then it's like, I'm like, I don't know what I need to change.
Yeah.
But again, you're not going to make everyone happy. I've heard comedians talk about this, and this resonates with me because I've been in this literal situation before. But as a comedian, you can be on a stage with a room of 100 audience members. And if you're making 99 of them laugh to the point where they're falling out of their seats, you get applause breaks, the whole nine. I mean, just like a comedian's wet dream of a perfect set. But there's one guy sitting with his arms crossed, giving you nothing. That is the guy you focus on.
Yep.
Does that guy deserve your attention? Abso-fucking-lutely not. There's 99 people having the time of their life right now, but you're focused on that guy. So I'm not going to take it to heart. I'm going to sit here and say I don't care. We just talked about it for like 20 minutes. I genuinely don't care. Again, the amount of positive things that I've heard. And dude, I listen to podcasts I love. I've never rated. I've never reviewed. I've never reached out to. So the fact that we've had multiple people reach out, leave comments, leave reviews means so much that I'm not going to let one anonymous person leave a 1-star review, and that's going to change anything about our dynamic, about the podcast, about any of that stuff. So,
and to the people that don't receive a lot of positive feedback or don't receive any feedback and still have gotten like those negative reviews, don't let that stop you. It will stick in your mind and it will hurt you, and that's exactly what the negative comment is there to do, because they just want to bring you down because they're just hurt people. Or, you know, maybe they actually had some good feedback to add, and maybe you take that to heart and be like, okay, I want to make it better. That's just what it's about. But if someone's sitting there just being mean, like, please don't take that to heart. As someone who has taken that stuff to heart, please don't, because it's just going to take away stuff that you want to add to the world. It's not worth it to make yourself smaller because other people are dicks.
If you're going to dwell on it, which I've been 100% guilty of doing, you got to let it get to that point where it can't upset you anymore. Now you just have to prove that motherfucker wrong. When people are just mean for the sake of being mean, there's obviously some insecurities there.
Do stuff that makes you happy. That's it.
Art is for the artist, not for the consumer.
And we are artists. Yes, we are. Doodly-doo. Okay, let us jump into season 3. Guys, I've mentioned probably 900 times. Season 3 is my favorite season. And now you know why.
So many solid episodes. So many good lines that we say on the daily.
I wasn't like hesitant, but like we watched season 1. I thought season 1 was pretty decent, and then we watched season 2. Season 2 was great as far as animation, but there was like some episodes in there that I was like, come on. Especially the dad therapy back-to-back episodes where I was like, ugh.
Sure.
But like with season 3, it was just like, you guys want to laugh every single episode? You guys want to have a good time every single episode? I understand why you throw the 2 season 3 episodes at people who have never seen the show before. I completely get that.
It's so wild because I was just telling Adele too, now that I'm in the podcast mode of approaching these episodes and these seasons, I've always loved season 3. It's always been my favorite. But dear God, man, when I think of season 4 and the episodes we have coming up and the quotable lines and just all this, I'm like,
I'm excited.
I may leave this podcast liking season 4 more.
Damn.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm excited.
I'm also very excited, especially for some of the bonus episodes we've talked about doing.
Season 3, not only was it a huge season for the show itself, but for us, we had 2 guests in season 3. We had Chris on Guitarmageddon. We had Nate on Coffins and Cradles. 2 very, very good episodes and 2 very, very good guests.
Oh, yeah.
I think we really nailed it this season. I know we only did 1 guest in season 2. Kind of doubled it up in season 3, and I mean, let's see what happens in season 4. I'm stroking my mustache. I have a mustache now.
You've always had a mustache.
It's technically been a beard the whole time.
Oh, shit.
But the mustache has been there.
Well, we have to shave the beard to get the mustache.
Secretly. But so it is not a mustache if there's a beard paired with it?
Is it technically a big goatee? How off the rails are we going to go?
So Jason definitely got better this season. And I know last recap, season 2, you said like you almost said that season 3 was going to be the first A+ for Jason.
Right.
I was unsure. When we got to Renaissance, which I was not expecting Renaissance to be that early in the season when it had just showed up, I was not hopeful because I didn't really enjoy Jason in Renaissance, which is like one of your favorite episodes. And then even in Guitarmageddon, where he was kind of...
He was a dick. He was a dick in Guitarmageddon. I'll say it.
Yeah. But then we got to Time to Pay the Price and Storm Warning. I actually rewatched that a couple times. Pretty funny in that one.
Oh, shit. There was something about Storm Warning that I learned right after we dropped the episode. Steve texted me about this. Fuck, I meant to make one of those did you know memes, but Jason's look in Storm Warning when he's filming the mockumentary or whatever, and it's kind of like a hoodie with a jacket. Dude, Steve sent me a photo of Matt Damon from Dogma wearing the exact same thing. Jason was doing a Matt Damon kind of thing for Storm Warning in that mockumentary.
I thought it was a Harrison Ford thing, 100%.
Well, it would make sense because we're talking, basically Star Wars, so Harrison Ford or something like that. But the look was definitely based off of Matt Damon in Dogma.
Matt Damon or Ben Affleck?
Ooh.
Fuck, it might have been Ben Affleck. I think it was Ben Affleck.
It might have been Ben Affleck.
Because I'm looking at a picture of Ben Affleck, and he's got the darker red jacket, and then Matt Damon has a darker white.
Is it definitely from Dogma, though?
Yes, I'm going back.
Oh, well, both of them are in it. So I was like, well, let's see who's actually in it. And never mind. I'm just going to shut the fuck up.
Oh, shit. Was it David who sent that to me? Hold on.
Dogma is a great fucking movie.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know if I've been in the room while it's on the television, but I don't think I actually watched it.
It's a Kevin Smith movie that ridiculing the church.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, and the picture you just dropped in chat of Matt Damon and Ben Affleck and Dogma, they're wearing very similar outfits, just like inverted colors. But that's definitely the look of Jason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record it twice, figure out which one is right, and then edit the right one in. So guys, I don't know if you know this, but it's actually based off of Ben Affleck from Dogma.
Shit.
Affleck.
Right,
Damn.
guys, I don't know if you know this. It's actually based off Matt Damon from Dogma.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You sure?
100%. I'll leave both of them in.
Also, the Matrix City was Zion, just to throw that in there. Zion.
Thank you. I'll go cut that back in. But yeah, this season, dude, so many banger episodes. Yeah. I think I gave out 15 S tier grades, which is wild. There was only 13 episodes.
It did feel like that at a point. I was like, what are you talking about?
Dude, the times I've been editing and the number of times you've given me shit, well, apparently there's S pluses and S minuses too, so who the fuck knows what's going on?
I remember the first time you brought up an S minus and me and Adele were like, oh, you can't do that.
What the fuck?
Forgot what bit I did, and then you were just sitting in silence I'm confused. We're just joshing out here. We're just having a podcast. You can do what you want. That's fine. We've established there are no rules. We'll throw out an E at some point.
E for everyone?
EA Sports.
It's in the game.
Should we say what our favorite and least episodes were?
Yeah, we can do that. It's almost impossible for me to decide a favorite.
It was pretty easy for me to pick out a least favorite, though, once I was looking through all my pages.
I had a tie for those.
For the least favorite?
Yeah, I had 2 for least favorite of season 3.
Okay.
And not because I disliked them. Out of all of the bangers in season 3, these would be the ones I would least want to watch again.
Okay, yeah, what do you got?
Bad Influences and Breaking Up is Hard to Do.
Dude, I understand on both of those 100%. I just had Bad Influences. Breaking Up is Hard to Do was a rough one, but the B or C storyline with McGurk,
yeah,
helping Brendan and him messing with the tools and stuff, I don't know, that part gets me every time. But I get it.
That's the thing. With season 3, there's no pizza club in this season for me to be like, fuck this. It was just, I would least like to watch Paula's narcissistic mom show up and just start bad-mouthing her.
Yeah.
I enjoyed when she was putting her foot down. I didn't understand I have an ear itch and
right.
I'm just going to randomly... what are you fucking... What was the fuck that? You having a stroke, McGurk? What's going on?
I will say that my least favorite episode was also Breaking Up is Hard to Do.
Damn.
I can't stand Paula's mom. The scene where she's awkwardly hitting on Jason, I'm like, can these adults leave these poor kids alone, please?
Right. Or how about when they're doing the little meatball sub dinner and Melissa's like, thank you. And Paula's mom's like, you're very polite.
I don't trust polite kids.
And then just Paula's dad showing up and then never coming back. I have a pet peeve when storylines just stop. They just don't ever continue, even though they're on a to-be-continued basis of, the grandpa. They just switch places and they didn't do anything else with it. Funny episode. McGurk's on screen, great time. Even Paula's mom, who I've forgotten her fucking name. Dolores, that's right, we kept calling her Dolores. And she rewrote Brendan's fucking movie without telling him.
Yeah.
It was a good episode, that's the thing. Season 3 was filled with great episodes, but that one I probably wouldn't want to go back and revisit just because Paula's mom was a picture of long ago.
I agree. Breaking Up is Hard to Do was rough, but Yeah, I think Bad Influence is probably my pick for least favorite this season. So
I mean, that's solid too. I don't think Bad Influence is very high up on my list, but I did like the end when they did all the different movies when they're all little chubbers.
that was like the saving grace for it, because it's also the episode where McGurk has the theory about women who had fat dads.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was the awkward double date with him and Lynch.
I completely forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, because it was very fucking awkward.
Again, great episodes. Like,
Even when they're bad, they're great.
I'm surprised Bad Influences was the one you picked, Tim, because that's the one where McGurk goes up and tells the poem that you love so much.
Oh yeah, the New York Times.
Yeah.
All that too is very awkward.
Yeah.
If you're the person that can't do secondhand cringe or secondhand awkward, like that's not a good episode.
that's why I didn't like Pizza Club either. It's also, the nurse was in that episode, and we haven't seen her all season, and that's her only episode. I think for me, it's like, for most of the episode, I'm expecting it to be incredibly fat-phobic, because for a while it was throughout the episode. And then that one shot of Paula looking in the mirror, trying to like suck in her stomach, and she's like looking down on herself, and then she starts going to the gym. I'm gonna let this siren pass real quick.
As soon as you said that, the siren's like, actually, we don't even need to be here right now.
You go on, get out of here.
Because the second you're like, okay, anyway, it's going to be like,
But Paula, talking about things that where storyline just ends, she goes to the gym, and then her kids are like, you know what, being fat's cool, and then she's still at the gym. And I was just tickled by that. The end of the episode, great. Honestly, all of the different fat movies where they're all fat.
They're so cute.
Even Adele in the episode said, like, oh, they're so cute on the couch together. Look at their little cheek.
They are. Oh, I just want to pinch them.
Honestly, fun episode. I probably wouldn't want to rewatch it, especially McGurk asking any woman on a date. Lynch, what is yours like?
Talk to yours.
yeah.
Golly.
If I had to choose, it would probably be Breaking Up is hard to do, but yeah, very neck and neck.
So in a way, we all kind of agreed because you picked the two that Tim and I picked.
Interesting.
That being said, favorite episodes of this season.
I picked two because I couldn't pick between these two.
I picked two, too. But I bet they're different.
Mine are both very nautical in their titles. Shore Leave, definitely Melissa's a fucking badass, fucking blows up the Fairy Princess building. And then Stowaway, because the line of gambling money, I feel like I say that at least 5 times a week.
It's so funny because we're at a point where if someone even says anything in that, like, tone,
Yeah.
they're like, I can't believe you did that. We're like, gambling money.
So good.
We were in the elevator the other day. We were just sitting there waiting for our floor, and they just go, gambling money.
I love that.
Those are two great episodes.
As far as earworms go, like, obviously this season blew it out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
To the,
Yeah. I almost want to figure out like an earworms per episode average because there's probably at least like 2 or 3 at least per episode.
Is Better Life from season 3?
Yeah, that was Bad Influences.
Yeah, that's another one that's like a daily occurrence.
yeah, that's an all-timer.
Anytime someone's like, oh, I just wanted a better life. Better life!
Or any little inconvenience or huge inconvenience. It's just immediately like, better life, please.
To the point where, in order to fall asleep sometimes now, I'll be sitting there, I'll just go, quarter for a bus. Just because, like, eventually I'll lose the energy to say it, and then I'll just drift off into dreamland.
Love that, like counting sheep.
Yeah, it's easier.
There was a couple times of going to Aldi and Tim gets the quarter for the cart and goes, quarter for the bus.
I was going through the list of episodes, and I was going through my reviews that I had here, because I know I have 2 separate notebooks here. It's between My Cheatin' Heart and Coffins and Cradles.
Oh, yeah.
Because My Cheatin' Heart is, for me as a filmmaker, such a fucking fun episode where the whole time he's sitting there trying to make a backwards movie, or he's just trying to experiment with his film. And then all of these other naysayers, non-believers, non-artists are like, you can't do that! Even though I love this I don't know why he's going Southern, but... You can't make a backwards movie, even though this backwards movie that just became a classic just came out.
And everyone's talking about it.
McGurk, like, oh, sorry, I'm late. I had to wait for the sun to get in position. Like,
I forgot Yes.
I enjoyed that greatly, and then I think it was the only episode where Brendan's dad was in it where I didn't dislike the entire plot around him.
Yeah, that's fair.
But then Coffins and Cradles, it has like so many of my soft spots. Just Halloween in general, Linda and Brendan just going at it and just hate, Fenton, hate. But Linda. And then Tom Kenny showed up randomly. Melissa beating the shit out of Jason.
Jason loving it.
Nate, who we had on that episode, he hadn't watched home movies before, and then he started watching like a lot of home movies and sending me Snapchats. The other day, he sent me a Snapchat of him watching home movies, and he's like, I understand now why everyone was like, Jason deserved it when he was getting the shit kicked out of him. He's like, it's getting more and more warranted the more I watch. And I'm like, yes.
Coffins and Cradles had one of two moments we've seen in home movies so far that I have literally written in my notes, Marson coded. Which Coffins and Cradles is when the doctor was like, this is childish gibberish. And Brendan's like, well, I mean, come on, it's a first draft. He's like, no, I love childish gibberish, and so does America.
Yeah.
And then Linda is screaming again, so he's like, oh, back to this. And he is 100% focused on delivering this baby. And then Brendan is like, so what's your favorite part?
Yeah. Another great quote from that episode specifically is, I know my rights.
Oh, yeah.
I know my rights.
I hear people quoting that all the time. Never even seen this show.
Just harping on it with Linda and Brendan, the entire episode just filled with hate for each other is so fucking enjoyable. Especially because the other times they've been together on screen, there's been this like silent animosity that they've had to just deal with and push through and pretend to be nice to each other. Here they just let it go. No, fuck this kid, you little movie-making piece of shit.
That's all it took. That movie-making piece of shit comment was like, Brendan's like, gloves are off.
Oh, yeah. Me?
You say that to me?
The baby?
This is what I love about season 3. You two have just named your favorite episodes. You couldn't choose one.
No.
So you each chose 2. They weren't the same. We were all pretty much on the same page for least favorite episode.
Yeah.
But because we're going to do this, like, I picked 2. You know my 2 for season 3. I talk about them all the time. It's Renaissance and Guitarmageddon, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Those are the 2.
If you had to choose between those two, could you?
I could.
I think if we're going pound for pound, like Guitarmageddon was so good, and I love Little Mama and the end, and it was so good. But I think Renaissance is just beginning to end a fucking S+ tier episode. I think there's no fat on those bones.
Oh my God.
I mean, if you have to choose, I'd have to agree.
They are literally neck and neck. They are neck and neck. And then Melissa shows up in a hood.
Oh, fuck.
Little Mama.
Yeah, but Dwayne is. In Little Mama, I don't know if I could choose. I'm sorry that I made you. I don't know.
And the hood falls.
And it was Melissa.
It was Maluska the whole time.
Maluska.
Oh, shit.
I would have to choose Guitarmageddon for you just because it's so good. Like, I have rewatched Guitarmageddon more than I thought I was going to. It's just such a great episode. It really is. And just the way that Dwayne is set up. I love that Dwayne loses. I genuinely, I enjoy that part of the episode. I don't know why that part is so endearing to me. But just the humbling factor of that, and then Little Mama coming out of the shadows, even though I thought she was a lamp. Jimmy Monet is such a great heel. Then Brendan's like, I like to put this on when I'm trying to relax. Just let it go, Dwayne.
What I love, too, is we each chose 2 favorites. None of them are the same, yet none of us chose It's Time to Pay the Price, which was such a good episode.
It was a really good episode.
I think that just speaks to season 3 being just like so fucking good, man.
Bangerang.
So good.
Season 3 has my favorite finale because it is my favorite episode of the whole season. And I didn't even talk about the fact that Stephanie showed up.
Yep.
She looked great. She destroyed McGurk in ways I never thought was possible. And then in some ways, healed him in ways I never thought was possible. He started in drag, and he's like, "It's freeing, Brendan."
Yeah.
It's a great, great, great episode. What should we name the baby? How about Jesus? No. And we move on.
I want the drugs that make you meow.
Meow. Meow.
Great season.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we want to get into like overall grades for season 3, but I will go ahead and say, as comes to no surprise to anyone at all, season 3 is an S tier season for me, 100%. I won't fuck with pluses or minuses on this one. This is just straight up S tier. Marcin, you almost gave Coffins and Cradles an S tier.
Parentheses.
You were so close.
Parentheses. Because recency bias. I want to get away from that because there's so many times I wanted to give an S in certain seasons. I think in season 2 there was a chance I wanted to give, I forget which episode it was, and that's exactly why I don't want to give him S, because I forgot which episode I wanted to give the S. I shouldn't be able to do that if I liked it that much. But there were so many great episodes in season 3, Coffins and Cradles especially all the character changes, and then Brendan's costume was amazing. They all had great costumes. Fenton wasn't there. Walter and Perry showed up, and they were a dick to Linda, which, rightfully so. And then Paula and Josie was there. Just such good. I would give this season an A+.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you because, again, I haven't seen season 4, and as much as I want to give this season an S, I'm going to have to go A+ too.
Understandable. Let's do this. Let's jump into our favorite and least favorite characters of this season, and I think that's going to pretty much do it for the episode.
Okay.
So does anyone have thoughts? How should we do this? Do we want to start with everyone just say their least favorite?
We can do that. I picked 2 for both least favorite and favorite because I couldn't choose again.
Okay.
I feel like me and Adele are going to have the same least favorites.
Probably. Well, no, I don't think we are.
I was going to say.
Oh, shit. Yeah, you're right.
Who wants to go first?
You know what? I'll do it because I'm sure there are going to be some opinions about it. I'm just going to say it. My least favorite character this season was Linda.
Dang. That's why I'm marrying him, guys.
Yeah. I understand, she was very pregnant. There was a lot of emotions going on. I love the scene with her and Brendan in the knock-knock joke.
Yeah.
Such a good scene. But ultimately, still in that episode, it seems like Linda isn't learning much. She's still being insanely inappropriate with Brendan. And just, I don't like the jokes. I don't like that's what I get for getting knocked up by an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
No, none of that. Not a fan.
Yeah.
I love Stephanie this season. She annoyed me the previous seasons, but I love her redemption arc. This season, I can't get mad at her. And Fenton was very annoying this season, but we just didn't have as much Fenton as before. So, yep, I'm locking it in. I'm going Linda.
To piggyback off of that, one of mine is definitely Linda. I'm sure she's grown as a person, and that's fine. But as soon as you're weird to little kids, you get put on my list, even though you should be on a different list. And the other one that I don't like is Paula's mom for that exact same reason, because she hit on Jason. So just the 2 creepy women were my least favorite.
I'm not going to defend Linda on the things that she has said, but I will say I rather have Linda screaming at this 8-year-old rather than what she was in the beginning, which is like, I'm volunteering today. I almost died today.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Oh, you didn't wake me up the 3rd time in a row after I asked you to? That was the Linda I despised. I was like, the world does not revolve around you, Linda. You need to do some things for yourself and be a part of this family if you're going to try. But she is not my least favorite. She's also not my most favorite from this season, obviously. My least favorites are Paula's mom, Grandma Smalls.
Nice.
Because she's such a... In that same vein, everything has to be about her. Everything.
Sorry about your fire. I'm getting a divorce.
Belittling Paula on every single thing. Unfolding her laundry because she didn't do it right.
Yeah, her underwear, no less.
In front of McGurk?
Yeah.
That guy?
Get out of here, Granny.
It is between her and Mr. Pendlebottomhurst guy. Pee-pee Pants. Mr. Pee-pee Pants. That guy.
Mr. Pendlehurst, yeah.
Mr. Pendlehurst, remind me?
He was the prison guard turned...
Oh, yes, okay.
Time to pay the price.
He loved to bully children and threaten them with violence the entire time and talk about his status of power that he doesn't have but used to have just so he can feel better about himself. Yeah, don't like him, don't like her, didn't like him.
That's another good least favorite character. I completely forgot about that motherfucker.
Yeah, another one I was going to bring up too that I think would get an honorable mention was Miss Lady.
Oh, yeah.
Miss Lady from the Fairy Princesses, her little corporate grind set ass.
Fuck her.
Such a good villain.
So as far as favorite characters
Can I go
this
first
season,
for this
absolutely.
one? Okay, so first favorite has to be hands down Little Mama. I feel like Little Mama is a little bit of my spirit animal. The whole like, I'm hungry, let's get food, me. Or the just randomly talking about shit nobody wants to hear about, me. Or just the weird shit and shenanigans she gets into. I love her, and I want to be friends with Little Mama. And then my second one, which is a little bit surprising because if you guys remember season 1, for my least favorite character, I said Stephanie was my least favorite character. Stephanie is my other favorite character this season for sure.
Let's go.
I loved her transformation. I love that she's a little cult leader, crystal lady now. She's bald. She's living her best life, and I am Team Stephanie now. I have been converted.
Are you joining her cult?
Oh, yeah. I'll shave my head.
Spot on. If I had to choose two, and she was very close to being my second choice because I just loved her in this. I love how... I just love the confidence she has come back with and how she has tried to change her life in a way that she chooses, not anyone else. And the gem in the middle of the forehead, I don't know why that is so cool to me, but it is.
Plus, she didn't let the rejection of McGurk get to her.
Yeah.
You know, she's thriving.
I know people have said the dots on her head is just like where the hair is growing back in, but like in my head, I'm like, oh, that's a tattoo. Like she tattooed her forehead or did some sort of henna, and it looks super dope. She would be my second favorite, but obviously, Adele, you had it right on the money. Little Mama.
Hell yeah.
She's so fucking funny and so good of a character, and she chooses positivity at every second.
And you know, when her little boyfriend was constantly making fun of Dwayne, she never joined in. She never laughed whenever he fell over. She's a good egg.
Also, my reaction when I figured out it was Little Mama was, that's Little Mama! Oh, it was so good. Put Jimmy Monet up there as like my favorite heel because he was so enjoyable to like watch, but he's not my favorite character. But Little Mama takes it. Love Little Mama. Love Little Mama.
I would give Jimmy Monet the award for like my favorite character to hate. He's such a piece of shit, but I love when he's being a piece of shit. I don't know.
He pulls out the guitar and it's just like boobs.
Oh, it's in a bikini.
Just boobs. What a douche.
What a guy.
To piggyback off of all that, I will say that Little Mama will take it for one of my favorites.
Oh, nice.
I know we've been giving it to characters that are like not normal characters that we see a lot or, you know, the main characters. But if I'm talking season 3, if I'm looking back on season 3, episodes I love, scenes I love, quotes, Melissa is just, I gotta give it to her this season.
I had to stop myself from picking Melissa for my favorite character.
The end of Shore Leave. The end of Renaissance. I mean, she just not taking Jason's shit, knowing exactly what he's doing and just putting on her glasses and saying, cool.
Him calling her a bitch and she's like, yeah, so what of it?
Go ahead and send me that paperwork.
Solid.
I was going to say there is one big negative of this season.
What's that?
Where the fuck was Ken Adelberg? He was in one, like, as far as I remember, he was in one fucking microscopic millisecond of a frame.
Oh, as a firefighter.
Well, no, was the episode where you see his family, that was in season 3, no?
That was the end of season 2, I thought.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Because that was,
Let's look in my notes here. Are we sure that wasn't season 3?
No, that was improving your life through improv, wasn't it? Wasn't that why they had to go to the sensitivity seminar?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, so he was in one episode this season, episode 4, and then he was in like one frame of episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in one episode this season.
So we have seen him, just dialed down tremendously, but we've seen him. We've seen him. Anything else about this season that we want to add before we call it?
Nope. Pretty good season.
Yeah.
Very good season, very good recap, very good interview, if I do say so myself.
A very good interviewer.
Yes, he was great. We did it, guys.
But we're not done.
When are you going to interview Steven's brother, Joe?
No.
Over my dead body.
I'm sorry, Steven. You're nowhere close to that.
I'm very interested. I've put out some feelers for the final interview.
Joe Rogan.
And don't say that. And we'll see what happens. I'm trying to be very optimistic. But yeah, that's going to do it. That's going to do it for this episode. That's going to do it for this season.
Oh my God.
So guys, if you made it this far, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you all, genuinely.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it for us. Do we want to do plugs on the recap episode? I don't know if we traditionally do.
I mean, I don't have anything that isn't what I talk about every episode anyway, so.
Right. Yeah, my plug is essentially this podcast. So, hey, if you like this podcast, you should also check out
This podcast. Oh, I gotta pee.
That's a good quote to end it on.
Yeah.
Guys, we all gotta pee.
But first, it's time to pay the price.
Damn, you said it.
He said it. Let's go.
And the price is $0.25 for the bus.
Oh, no.
Whoa, my brain just exploded.
That's going to do it for this season of Rewatching Home Movies. Join us next week for Season 4, Episode 1, Everyone's Entitled to My Opinion. If you liked what you heard, check out our Linktree at Linktree/RHM Pod. There you can like, follow, and subscribe. Send us an email to request free stickers, or leave us a 5-star review. I will read 5-star reviews on the podcast. Thanks to Jens for the refresh of our logo, and Chris Bongat for the use of our theme song. On behalf of myself, Tim, and my co-host, Marcin, and Adele, thank you for rewatching home movies with us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
And then afterwards, all right, same time next week, guys.